Everywhere. I looked through hundreds of files, searched through my text messages. I even looked everywhere in my wardrobe, but I just couldn't find where I asked for your opinion.
Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Dear Qadriyyah Safiyyah, where I scour the internet and look for situations where I can offer my unsolicited opinion. This episode of Dear Qadriyyah Safiyyah comes from Reddit, Am I the Asshole? Dear Qadriyyah Safiyyah, am I the asshole for buying a property where the house burned down, leaving a small mother-in-law suite and not rebuilding a house there? My neighbors think so. I already know you're not the asshole. I already know you're not the asshole. So the reading of the will is just a formality. Dear Qadriyyah Safiyyah, I was looking to buy a place that I wanted something. Dear Qadriyyah Safiyyah, I was looking to buy a place, but I wanted something very small, since I'd be living alone and I don't want to clean a lot. I know that's right. I remember when I started thinking about buying a big home for me and my children, and I started looking at houses, and as a person who is not a fan of cleaning, I was like, small cottage it is, with low ceilings, heat just filling up empty space for no reason. I found something pretty unique. I love unique. A lot which had a house that burned down and was demolished. Okay. Everything taken out so the land could be built on. Okay. But there was a garage still standing with a one-bedroom mother-in-law suite above. What do they call those? It's called something where it's a garage and then you can live above it. A carriage house. It's called a carriage house. Just a bedroom, bathroom, and a little kitchen. This was surrounded by half acre of mostly forest. Yeah, this sounds glorious. I didn't know what to think at first till I went and toured it. I loved it. The 3-car garage, I know that's right, would give me space to work on my car and bikes. This sounds phenomenal. The suite upstairs was bigger than any apartment I had and would be my own to customize in a way I could never with an apartment. Is this the one? Okay. And the price was super low. Oh my God. It just keeps getting better and better. Unbelievably low for the area. I actually was able to pay 50% down payment and I'll own it in full in 5 years. High five. You're killing it out here. I checked the local regulations and it would be legal for me to live in the mother-in-law suite on the property. I know, isn't that so crazy that you had to check and see if you could live on your own property the way you see fit? Wild. Anyway, long story short. My God, I feel like this story was already long. Long story short, I closed on the house and moved in. I was really happy with the place. It was just the right amount of space for me, roomy without being a pain to clean. God bless you. The outdoor space is great for my dogs and hosting barbecues with my friends. Yes! So on to the trouble. It's not trouble. I can tell you right now, it's not trouble. A couple of neighbors made comments about being glad someone moved in to fix the place, which was an eyesore on their street. But a while later, my neighbors started asking when I'd start building. And I realized they thought I was living in the mother-in-law suite and planning on building a main house. I said I wasn't planning on it yet and I don't need a lot of space yet. My neighbors got upset. I was bringing down the property value by leaving the lot a vacant lot and living in an old garage. Not mentioning that garage was new and a whole residence. I said I wasn't trying to bring it down. I'd keep it nice, but I didn't have house building kind of money. First of all, you've said too much. You have said too much, mademoiselle or sire. You've said too mother-loving much. They said that just by keeping it as is, I was bringing it down since its value was maybe 1/6 of the other home's values. It's really not my business. It's literally none of my business. I got frustrated and said I wasn't the one that burned the house down. Maybe blame whoever did that. I just got the place as is. Wait, so what part is burnt down? Let me go back up. Which had a house that burned down and was demolished. Everything taken out so the land could be built on. So it's just the outside of the house that remains? Because then I don't know what demolished means. Demolished to me means there's nothing there on your property. There's nothing there on your property except the garage and your apartment upstairs that suits you just fine. That's the image I'm getting in my mind. Let's see, what did he say? Yeah. The neighbors got upset with me saying that because they had been close with the previous neighbors and the fire had been a tragic accident. Okay. All right. I said, I'm sorry, I didn't know, but honestly, they couldn't put their expectations on me. Boom. After I bought a place not knowing any of that, even if you knew that. I mean, I don't even know what a tragic accident, that means they didn't have insurance because the insurance would have covered that. So the tragic accident was really that they didn't have homeowners insurance. That was the true tragedy. I just bought a place wanting to get something I could afford. How could I expect to suddenly be expected to spend 6 times as much? The neighbor said that if I was buying a demolished building land, there's an expectation that I rebuild. Am I the asshole for buying the land without plans of building? Sir, you already know. Ma'am, you already know. I don't know if you're a sir or ma'am, but it literally doesn't matter at this point. Of course you're not the asshole. Of course you're not the asshole. There's no way you could be the asshole. It says, the neighbor said that if I was buying a demolished building land, there's an expectation. First of all, I can tell you right now, the law allows, because in not all places are you allowed to live in a dwelling of less than a certain amount of square feet. Also, when you purchase the home, sometimes you purchase a home that has stipulations that you must build a dwelling of a certain size within a certain amount of time, or you forego the purchase, and sometimes you lose the amount that you've paid. This is not your situation. This is just your neighbors. And so this is what I think is funny. I live in a neighborhood where it used to be an abandoned army base. And then Tyler Perry bought the abandoned army base. And for 9/11, when 9/11 happened, the base, they built a wall around the base. And there was previously no wall. And from 9/11 on, there's a wall. And some of the neighbors, because I certainly do not feel this way, some of the neighbors want Tyler Perry to remove the wall. And they have the weirdest logic. The weirdest logic is Now that the property is occupied, then the wall is no longer needed for security. That's ridiculous. So I'm at the neighborhood meeting and they're talking to a representative from TD Jakes, not Tyler Perry, but TD Jakes, about Tyler Perry not taking down the wall. And I'm hearing them talk about this wall. Oh, you know, I mean, take down the wall, take down the wall. And I'm like, what is about this wall? Like, why are y'all talking about somebody else's property? Why are you asking him to take down the wall? Because it's ugly. So, of course, I made those faces. And they're like, oh, you don't think the wall should come down? And I was like, I don't typically think about what other people are doing on their property, even if I find it visually unappealing. I do not spend any amount of time thinking of ways other people can spend money for my pleasure on their property. I don't do that. I don't do that. So, do I think his wall should come down? I have no thoughts on it. Actually, I do have thoughts on it. I tweeted Tyler Perry, I said, I think that if any money is spent on that wall, that you should paint a mural of a wall on the wall. And you should possibly, just to up the pettiness of the whole situation, you should possibly paint a new mural of a different wall like every 6 months. And then it could be, you know, a tourist attraction. What wall is Tyler Perry going to paint on the wall next? And I think that would be wonderful, because maybe they think the wall, their reason was because the buildings behind the wall are historic and they got used to seeing those buildings and now they cannot. Oh well. I would definitely paint a mural of a wall on that wall if I were Tyler Perry, okay? As for your situation, what your neighbors can do is, like, you know how the church starts a building fund? Your neighbors can start a building fund on your property, for your property. And they could start a building fund because if their property value, now, let's see. If their property value is going down, then it would behoove them to contribute to you building another structure on your property so that their property value does not go down. Now, I don't know how long this property was left unattended to, okay? But if I were you, I would definitely suggest that, and you know, it's not difficult to, maybe you could form a 501c3 and you could have them contribute to the building fund on your property, and you could build a small structure. You can have them pay for you to build a small structure on your property, and then you could Airbnb that property so that you have income coming in. And you could afford to have somebody come in and clean up, since we don't want to add any more cleaning up to your life, because you have literally designed it in a way where you can live your best life according to your desires and your expectations for your life. So I think that is a great idea that I have come up with for you. Get a building fund going with your neighbors. Once it reaches the amount of, money to build a small structure, and you can Airbnb it, and then you can afford to have somebody come in and clean up after each Airbnb guest. Okay? Not the asshole. Much success to us all.